The Philadelphia 76ers have come a long way in the last 4 seasons. In 2014, their starting lineup was Michael Carter-Williams, Hollis Thompson, Robert Covington, Luc Mbah a Moute, and Nerlens Noel. They lost a combined 190 games over a 3-year stretch, and their on-court production was as ugly as the record suggests. Then, after continuing to trust the process, things turned around for them this season. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were both healthy, Dario Saric took a step forward as a player, and Robert Covington developed into a solid 3-and-D wing. Now, heading into possibly their biggest offseason ever, they have the ability to turn their team into legitimate title contenders for years to come. In today's video, we will be discussing how the Sixers could realistically add 2 superstars this offseason and become a force to be reckoned with for many years to come. More specifically, I'll be talking about how they can go about adding the best player in the whole NBA, LeBron James, and Spurs two-way superstar, Kawhi Leonard. Before I begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel below, as all support for the channel is very much appreciated. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it. The first aspect of acquiring high-level talent for a team is having the cap space to pay those players. This offseason, the Sixers will have about $25 million in cap space to spend, and the team has numerous ways to clear even more room to be able to afford a maxed contract. Jerryd Bayless is a player that is completely out of the rotation and has no future on the team, yet he will be getting paid $9 million this next season. It is in the best interest of the team to get rid of him this summer, and they will more than likely do just that. First, they will explore the trade market for him. To put it simply, Bayless was not a very good player this year, so finding a team that would be willing to take on his contract will not be easy. There is basically no interest in trading for him alone, so the Sixers would have to attach something else worthwhile to the package in order to sweeten the offer. Luckily, the Sixers have plenty of sweeteners at their disposal. They have 6 total draft picks this year, 2 of which being in the first round and 4 being in the second round. They own the 10th pick in the draft, which is doubtful to be attached in a Bayless trade, but every other pick is on the table in that regard. The other first-round pick that the team has this year is number 26, which could be very tempting for other teams in trades. This year's draft is supposed to have a ton of talent all the way through the first round, so teams looking to add young talent to their teams would definitely be interested in that pick. Additionally, the 4 second-round picks should also all be available in trade talks because the Sixers currently almost have a full roster and they will not realistically be able to keep every player that they draft. If the team is not able to find another home for Jerryd Bayless via a trade, then they would have to waive him, which would then free up about $5.7 million in cap space. If they can trade him, then it would free up $9 million in cap space, so by the end of this process they would either have about $30 million or about $35 million in cap space to spend. After Jerryd Bayless, they do also have other means of opening cap space as well. Richaun Holmes has a team option for this year, and if the Sixers decline it, about $1.6 million more in cap space would be freed up. This then frees up about enough cap space to offer LeBron James a max contract, which is phase 1 of this idea. But why would LeBron want to come to Philadelphia? Well, there are a few reasons. For one, there have already been reports by credible sources that he has narrowed down his list of potential landing spots to a few teams. Those teams were the Cavaliers, Rockets, Lakers, and Sixers. Being in the top 4 is great for the Sixers, but they still need to edge out the other 3 teams. At the time of this video being made, the Cavaliers are in the Eastern Conference Finals and down 2-1 to the Celtics in that series, and things aren't necessarily looking very promising for them. The Cavs supporting cast has been, to put it lightly, not great around LeBron, and I can't imagine him wanting to play any more than he has to with that squad. Even if the Cavs turn this series around and advance to the finals, I'll come right out and say right now that they have 0 shot at beating the winner of the West. Both the Rockets and the Warriors would beat them in about 5 or 6 games, and you can hold me to that prediction. That leaves the Rockets and Lakers left to beat out. The Lakers are like the Sixers in that they would likely be able to afford to bring LeBron to the team, but they are the front runners to land Paul George, and if they add him, they would have to move some other pieces around in order to be able to afford LeBron as well. Additionally, the Lakers didn't even make the playoffs this year, and LeBron's window of competing at the highest level is getting shorter and shorter, so I just don't believe that he would take a chance on a team like that, and because of that, the Lakers are out. Lastly, I believe LeBron's decision will ultimately come down to either Philly or Houston, but Houston is going to struggle to afford LeBron this summer. Both Chris Paul and Clint Capella are going to be free agents this summer, and the team is going to try to bring back both of them. In order to do so, they would have to pay a lot of money. Chris Paul is a max contract player and will want to be paid like one. Clint Capella is one of the most promising young big men in the league, and as a restricted free agent will have many offers from other teams that the Rocket could match. The Suns are reportedly interested in offering Capella a max deal, and if the Rockets match that offer, then there is no way that they could afford LeBron. Even if they let him walk, they still probably couldn't afford him. The only way the Rockets would possibly be able to afford him is if they moved Ryan Anderson and his $20 million contract, which will not be easy. Even if they move Anderson, the money is going to be very tight, and they still might not be able to make it work. So, because of that, and everything I've said up until this point, I believe that there is a very good chance that LeBron signs with Philly this offseason. Now, let's focus on Kawhi Leonard, the other half of this video. In case you weren't caught up on the Kawhi Leonard saga, allow me to fill you in. In a nutshell, he got injured, was cleared to play, and returned for only 9 games before re-injuring himself. Kawhi then went to his own personal doctors to get evaluated because he doesn't trust the Spurs doctors anymore. The Spurs had cleared him to play, but he never returned to action this season because he didn't feel ready to come back and never felt like he was healthy enough to play. This has caused some rift between the Spurs organization and Kawhi, and neither side seems to be on the same page. Greg Popovich has been very vocal about his displeasure with Kawhi. Point guard Tony Parker has taken shots at Kawhi in interviews, and many others have voiced their problems with the situation as well. It's gotten to the point where there is now a real chance that he gets traded, and the Sixers are one of the teams that will be going after him this offseason. What will it take to acquire Kawhi Leonard in a trade? Well, reports are saying that in order for the Spurs to actually want to send Kawhi away, they would need a Grand Slam offer. Do the Sixers have enough assets to create a Grand Slam offer? Yes, but the real question is if they're willing to offer it. The Sixers have 2 first-round picks this year, and they should both be on the table for a trade. One pick is 10th overall, and the other is 26th overall. Throw in both of those picks to start off their Grand Slam offer. The Sixers also have a few very valuable young players that would definitely entice Greg Popovich and the Spurs. The first player that would likely be brought up in trade talks is Markelle Fultz, who was the #1 overall pick in last year's draft. Fultz had a very strange rookie season between his injury, his jump shot struggles, and the games that he missed. But despite all of that, Fultz still has loads of potential. Fultz is the youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double, and he did so off the bench while only playing 25 minutes. As long as he continues to recover from his shoulder injury and his jump shot continues to come back to what it was pre-injury, then he is still very valuable as an asset. The next player the Sixers would offer is Robert Covington. Covington is likely going to make an all-defense team this season because he impacts the game in so many ways on that end of the floor. He had the 6th best net rating this season in the NBA, and actually had a better defensive rating than fellow teammate and Defensive Player of the Year candidate Joel Embiid. Additionally, he led the whole NBA in deflections, showing that he pesters his opponents tremendously. Greg Popovich would be very interested in a player like that. Lastly, the Sixers could offer young European power forward Dario Saric. Saric averaged 14.6 points and shot 45% from the field and 39% from 3. He's efficient, he's tough, he's gritty, and he always gives maximum effort. He is the type of player that Greg Popovich tends to fall in love with. So, to summarize, the Grand Slam offer that the Sixers can put together is Markelle Fultz, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, the 10th pick, and the 26th pick. They might not need to include all of those assets, but they are all available if Kawhi Leonard is the product they are getting in return. After all of this, the Sixers could have a lineup of Ben Simmons, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. That foursome is absolutely lethal and could potentially give the Warriors troubles in the finals. I'm not saying that this will definitely happen, but it is a real possibility, and it would absolutely be incredible to watch if it does happen. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and follow me on Twitter at hoopsreference. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.